Everybody, happy Tuesday evening. It is Breakthrough Live with Matt Lowe and my co-host Jacques St. Fleur. What's up, amigo?
Hey, what's going on, my man? Ready for a new week, new challenges, and new success stories.
Absolutely, bro. Happy Tuesday. Everybody will be going live in just a few minutes. We're going live right now. In a few minutes, we'll start on our topic tonight of turning your pain into your gain. How do we assess when painful situations happen in our life? And how do we grow forward from that and use it as a catalyst and a trajectory forward, and not as a ball and chain per se that holds us and keeps us trapped and stuck. And so, yeah, man, I'm super excited for this topic.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, working on pain. Pain helps you get real creative. You know, every time I've been stuck in a corner, I've been able to come up with some things that I never would have thought of otherwise. So I think eventually people start to realize pain is actually a good way to transition into your next chapter. And usually it's how we do transition to our next chapter.
You know, we'll talk about it here in just a few. So yeah, this is a fun conversation, and one of the hardest lessons I think it is. It was for me in my growth journey in leadership was learning how to be okay, of being able to look in the rear view mirror at the things that have caused so much suffering and pain in my business, in my life, and go, how can I learn from that? Yeah. What can I take forward from that to actually help influence other people that are going through that same journey of pain, right? I mean, we got almost 8 billion people on planet Earth. There's a lot of people out there that are going through the same suffering that we've gone through. So what actually helped me, you know, and a lot of this, and we'll get into this here in a little bit, is just that whole, how can I help somebody else that went through that same suffering not go through that suffering any longer than they have to? Mm-hmm. You know, and so we'll talk about that. I'm sure you've had a lot of these elements climbing the career ladder. I know you have, because we've had the conversations.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it never stops. Anybody who works for anybody is dealing with some things that you don't really fully believe in, or but that's part of working for someone. You know, you have to do what they say.
Absolutely. So welcome, guys. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to Breakthrough Live. We are going to be doing this every Tuesday evening. You know, and so it's 6:30. Let's get started. I'll give you guys my intro. My name's Matt Lowe, former founder of multiple different startups for the last 15 years. Became an international fitness trainer, personality, coach. And was able to build a very flourishing multi-international, 26 different countries. We had clients and helped transform 10,000 plus people's lives over the years. And as I grew in my leadership, I kind of felt stuck in that, right? Like making great money, doing great things, having a ton of great influence. But I wanted more than just helping people lose weight and get in shape and being fit, right? And so for me, that took me on my own growth journey of self-development, right? Of breaking those shackles off that comfort zone that was keeping me where I was, to allow us to flourish. When I say us, my wife and I in our few different businesses that we have, to be able to flourish into what they are today, designed around the lifestyle that we wanted to create and live, right? I call it intermittent working, right? I wanted to be able to build a career in a business that I could influence and impact leaders that had influential brands. I work with a lot of professional coaches. I work with professional speakers, celebrity trainers. We work with a lot of them, right? Why? Because at that highest level of capacity, high performance needs to be there all the time. You know this best. You're on the top of your field, and just being surrounded with that high performance is why we're bringing what we're bringing tonight. So, Jacques, take it away, man. Give us your background, your intro, your story.
Absolutely. So it's funny when people ask, Jacques, what do you do? You know, what do you do? And it took me a while to say, hey, I'm a personal development leadership coach. I used to always say, I work for this company, work for that company, but that's not how you brand yourself. Who are you, the person inside? So I always tell people I've been in leadership for the last 2 decades, but I just became intentional about it the last 2 years. You know, so right out of high school, going into the military, I got to work for the White House and the nuclear side of the house. And you learn really quick when you're performing with people who operate different or at the highest level. I used to always be so obsessed with what separates the people who perform at a higher level versus everyone else. So even when I went to the military, I went to water rescue training. And in that program, I remember hearing, Jacques, only 25 to 50% of the kids who come through this school actually graduate. So when you look around a room of hundreds of people and you say half of these people aren't going to make it,
Right.
half of these people aren't going to make it forces you to get real serious about what you're doing every single day to better yourself. So for the longest time, the military helped me to figure how to perform with the best of the best. And you realize you don't need to be the best, you just need to be strategic as to how you approach your strategy. So in the classroom, I wasn't the A+ student. I was the A- student, sometimes B+. As far as working out, I wasn't the strongest guy. I've never had a six-pack in my life. Right? I was never the A+ athlete, but I was always the A- B+. But what happens after a certain period of time, whether it's 6 months to a year, you average out all of your strengths and your weaknesses. As long as you're consistent, you'll always rise to the top with the best of the best. So that was a big takeaway for me. And once I realized that 2 years ago, I realized, wow, I've been half-assing it this whole time. Not necessarily half-assing. I haven't been intentional about what I do well and how do I deflect what I don't do well and get the partners in there to help me get there. So the last 2 years, I feel like I've really been able to grow who I am. And once I was able to grow who I am, I brought a better version of myself to everybody I engage with day in and day out.
That's what makes what we do as high performance leadership coaches, strategists, a career, a job, an industry, right? We have created resources, what we call our Atlas guides, right? That help business owners through these breaking points that you're going to see at every stage of your business. When you want to go from 5 figures to 6 figures, 6 figures to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10, right? I've had multiple billion-dollar earning mentors. I have 2 right now, that I get to learn from on a weekly basis. Their cell phone connected to me. I can reach out to them and ask them any breaking question that I might face as we continue to grow our coaching brands bigger and bigger and bigger. We don't lead with, hey, how to make 7 figures with this and how to do that, right? We lead with influence, because those tactical approaches are very short-lived, right? They change all the time. And if you put a strategy to grow your business behind one tactical element, that pain when that tactical element shifts and changes because it's beyond your control can be very painful. I know, because we built a very, very valuable fitness group years ago on Facebook and it got shut down. No reason, no feedback, nothing. Right. And that was a very painful moment in me going, wow, this was 2 years of my time early on of building. I don't know what I did wrong. I don't know. I have to do this all over again. How can I put a system in place so that this doesn't happen again? So that it doesn't matter. Platforms come and go, right? In the business world, social media platforms come and go. Think about it. When we were in high school, I might be dating myself, but there was this thing called MySpace, right? And it was everything. Everybody was on it, right? Everybody had these cool pages. You could design them and all yada, yada, yada. And then it was just as quick as it grew, it was gone basically one day, right? And it's obviously still there, completely different type of platform now. But what I mean is that it just went away. And so if you built your whole coaching business off of a one tactical approach strategy, may not be the right system for long-term success. It's definitely not if you're wanting to get into the 8 into the 9 figures, of building an actual, what we call a legacy brand, something that can outlive you. You've got the systems in place and the team there that can keep growing it. And so being able to learn from those painful moments is it's easiest for me to account it to like bodybuilding, right? I was a competitive bodybuilder for 18 years, 2-time Mr. Natural Colorado. And to get to that point in bodybuilding, you have to realize that you have to go past your breaking point and tear your muscle. People think muscle is built in a gym. It is not built in a gym. You go to the gym to do resistance training to cause micro tears in the muscle fiber. Because when you go home after you cause that tear and you go replenish it with proper nutrition, rest, and recovery, it grows back week after week stronger. So the compound effect of tearing, which is painful. I'll never forget, I used to have a client that asked me, like, dude, how do I get to the point where I really enjoy this working out? Because it's painful when we get to that point where your muscle's burning. I said, that's when we're growing. When it starts burning, that's when we're growing. It doesn't, if you're doing 10 reps, you know when it grows? On rep 11 and 12. Past that painful breaking point. And that's when we grow in our businesses, right? When we have these challenges, but we don't have to be stuck at these challenges over and over and over and over. If you're repeating a challenge or feeling this pain more than once, we've got a problem.
Yeah.
Right. And that's where we go back to the systems element of going, okay, we have a system for that, right? We call it our Atlas method, and so that's where in our coaching program, we give these strategies to very successful coaches. Most of our coaches are already making millions, if not more. Some of them are just starting out. So they're all going to experience these different growth pains with every single step, because as we said last week, every step that you climb requires a new and a better version of who you are today.
Yeah, very true. Let me ask you, as far as bodybuilding, what system did you put in place that worked for you? I'm sure you started with one and you probably ended at step 10 or the 10th revision that worked for you. What seemed to work best for you?
Yeah, I want to actually take it just one step back. And that was, how did I even get into bodybuilding? Because people ask me that sometimes. And I used to have two stories, right? Because I could tell if they really cared. But this one in relation to pain was, I was being bullied, right? And I was being beat up all the time. And I was just like, look, if I can be strong and I can show that, yo, dude, the next time you mess with me, I've got muscle. Right. And that's actually what got me into the gym, because I was just an angry kid that I was getting beat up all the time, and so I went to the gym and work out, and the stronger I got, the less I got, beat up. And then I became somebody that in sports teams, my other players looked at me as a leader. And I was a homeschool kid, man. I didn't go to these cool schools. So I'd come in as this walk on to high school teams and be like, oh, you're the team captain now. I'm like, I don't even go to school here. But people naturally saw that the dedication it took as a 14-year-old to turn into Mr. High School Colorado, at 15 years old, took a lot of dedication and discipline that they were like, that not envious of, but they were like, man, what are you doing that we are obviously not doing? Because if we all looked like that, could you imagine what our football line would look like, and what like the dominance we could have? And so it was the sacrifice, really, right? Which is, again, a pain. I had to watch my friends all the time because I was prepping every summer, because the shows that I was doing were in July and August, which means that all summer long, when my friends are going to parties, to the lake, on vacations, I didn't do any of it.
Yeah.
I stayed home. I didn't drink. I didn't party. I ate chicken. I ate broccoli. I studied success books. I was looking at the people and the bodybuilders that came before me going, how did they do it? I was reading the diet plans. Dude, I was a dork. I have binders still to this day. Amy pulled one out the other day. She's like, look at this. And literally, dude, a picture of me in my very first bodybuilding show at 14 years old.
That's wild. 14.
And so it was like, at that young age, I knew that I wanted something that was going to give me that discipline element that I felt like I needed. And I knew that I enjoyed going to the gym and being able to exert my pain in a form that I was actually recouping something back. And that molded and grew over time as well, right? We have pains every day in our business, but as I grow as a leader, I have to learn how to take that pain and allow it to hit me, redirect it and reflect it, right? That's what I say all the time. Redirect and reflect. Redirect and reflect. It's never really the person's problem that I'm dealing with, right? It's the situation or the thing in the middle. Yeah. We talk about a lot about this when we're talking about relationships, right? People ask us like, how do you guys know? You guys work together for 13 years, your husband and wife. How do you gonna like kill each other yet? Like, and it's true. Like, there's a lot of things we've had to learn along the way, especially when there's animosity and that pain, right? It's not the other person caused me this pain. It's this thing that they did. So let's focus on the action. Let's focus on the thing and not the person. And that allows us to have a more emotional disconnect than from blaming the person and no. I want to talk about the situation, the thing you did here.
Yeah. I love the fact that you grew yourself, right? You saw a challenge that you were having and you grew yourself. And I think that built your confidence up to that space. I know for me personally, I didn't have that confidence internally. I was always going to help others achieve their goals. And I was finding my confidence in how well I could help them get there. But you know what happens? People get what they want and they keep moving. And then what happens to you when you've made a career out of helping other people? Every
Mm,
time a relationship would leave, I would be in my feelings saying, what's wrong with me? What did I
yeah.
do? No, you accomplish those goals and then you move on to a different chapter. So for me, I brought that into the military, and I also took that out from the military and brought that into corporate America. And it was always, how do I help others? How do I help my manager achieve the team's goals? How do I help my area manager hit that goal? And I've always focused on how do I help other people hit those goals. And I remember that obsession with how do I find confidence in myself? I find it when
Yeah.
people say, wow, Jacques, you're killing it. So at one point I was chasing every single award in corporate America. And I figured if I got every single award, I'll find myself at that point. I would have friends. I have one friend in specific that I can remember. He worked in the same industry, but he ran his own business, right? He'd always say, Jacques, how many of your bills can you pay with those trophies? And that would hurt my feelings. Like, hey,
Mm,
well, I'm still the best regardless. Hey, like, how many of your bills can you pay with that? But I was stuck in my own mindset saying, no, I need more awards. Once I have all the awards, what was I expecting to get after that? So I was actually able to make it to the top 2% of salespeople in the country. I was able to take my wife. It was such an awesome trip. I mean, we got to the resort down in Florida. I believe it was in Orlando at this time. When we checked in, there was an envelope for me and my wife. We opened it up. It was $350 in cash, like cash. And mind you, this table is loaded with a bunch of envelopes for all the other top performers across the country. So as soon as you arrive to this five-star hotel, I believe it was the Waldorf
nice.
Astoria.
Yeah.
We get there. It's a pool party. You have every vendor there giving you gifts. And I don't want to say the company that I work for, but these were big vendors. You were getting speakers, Bluetooth headsets, cases. They were just giving you the house. And I remember sitting there saying, wow, I am surrounded by all the best performers across the country. And guess what? We went to our hotel room, opened our door, beautiful suite. I had a gift for myself. There was a gift for my wife. And I was like, wow, they just keep pouring into us. And it was day one. Then you go to a networking event, and then they say, hey, you know what? We have we have a room that we turn into a shopping lounge. Each one of you get a ticket. You can go grab whatever you want in there. My wife got herself, I believe, with a Coach bag. I got myself, I believe that was my first. Which watch was it? Marc Jacobs watch. And I was like, what? $350 cash. We've been getting gifts left and right. And I remember the next day at the ceremony, we had all the highest C-level staff on stage. And you have all of us in the crowd. And I remember our president standing up and saying, listen, everyone who is able to reach the top 2% of performers in the country, I want you to stand up. And I stood up proud. All that sacrifice I made working those 10 in the morning to 10 p.m. at night shifts to be able to get to this level. And they said, listen, I want you to look around and understand that you guys are the best in the business. This isn't some small company. We're one of the largest, if not the largest, telecom provider in the world. And you achieved top 2% in this role. I want you to look around and give yourself the round of applause, because none of us on this stage who are your top leaders have ever reached the top 2% of sellers in the country. And I remember instantly saying, excuse me? What do you mean? So all of you that I'm trying to get to have never reached the top 2%. So what am I doing wrong? I was happy. I was proud in that moment, but I instantly said, am I killing myself to get to a place that's not really where I'm trying to get to? But what I
Yeah.
thought was really special is once we sat down, they said, listen, special guests of the people who have achieved the top 2%, I want you to be able to stand up. So Avery got to stand up. And they said, listen, if it wasn't for your support at home, if it wasn't for your support allowing these performers to be able to operate at their peak performance, to be able to stay the extra hours, to be able to develop themselves to get to this point, they wouldn't be in this room. And
Yeah.
that was the moment when I realized I have all the awards that I need. I have all the self-confidence that I need. And after that moment, I felt like that helped me to start being more intentional about how I move forward. Because if nobody
Yeah.
on stage had hit the top 2% in the country, then maybe I might be overkilling myself, and maybe I need to refocus what my plan of attack will be. But it always takes those type of moments to be able to get us moving in the right direction.
No, absolutely. And I think that that's where like most people get hung up, because few people are willing to take the time that it takes to understand how to make bad experiences positive experiences. Right? Because they're challenging. It takes discipline to when we're in a really crummy situation and go through a super extremely painful period in your business, in your career. I mean, we've lost our business from having $1 million coaching brand to literally losing it because of a really bad con man partnership, right? And there's a lot that goes behind that. But I mean, our family watched us go through just losing everything, and the IRS seizing bank accounts because we couldn't. I mean, it was so disastrous, especially for me, because I was the leader of the ship. I was the captain of that ship going, oh my gosh. And it was just like, how did I not see this iceberg? How did I not know that we were going to hit this? I had advisors. What happened? And you start to go through this whirlwind of blah, blah, blah. And then when you do it, you're like, oh, it's that person's fault. Oh, they screwed up and they screwed up. And at the end of the day, it was like, dude, every time I'm pointing at somebody else on the team, I got 3 fingers pointing right back at me because I put them in their role.
Yeah.
And so that's hard, right? And many of us know we've worked for bosses, right? And there's a big difference between a boss and a leader, somebody that can take somebody and leverage what they want to gain from life, of being successful in whatever it is they're doing with you or for you, and be able to leverage that carrot per se and have them put that same effort and implementation into what it is that they're creating, right? But it takes disciplined effort, intentional effort, compounded over time to be able to hurt and allow hurt and pain to be a catalyst that projects us forward and not something that keeps us bitter and victimized. Because when we're in a bitter, victimized state of mind, there's no progression happening. None. Zero progress being made. Nothing happens when we're playing the blame game. When we complain and blame, we remain the same. I burned into my brain years ago because it was like, if all I can do is say, well, this person and that team member and this person didn't show up and this other person didn't show up, and well, it's that person's fault. No. It ultimately comes down to me being able to say, hey, and this is why most people don't succeed in life, right? We become okay, and then we tolerate okay and say, well, this is as good as it gets. Why? Because we're too uncomfortable to go back to zero again, to go up. And I'll never forget a coach he goes, the cycle of success goes like this. It's constant circles. He goes, so you've got to be okay with going up and then taking that slingshot and pulling it back again and then going up. He goes, what happens is most people do this circular motion and they're going down. Why? Because in that review process, they're remaining bitter instead of learning how to learn from that and use it as this reflective push forward again, right? And allow that inertia to take you forward into self-betterment instead of remaining in a mindset of bitterness. And so as we've grown our different brands again, from the ashes, per se, we had to build everything, not just from ground zero, from negative tens of thousands of dollars paid to the IRS just to get back to ground zero. I mean, we leveraged everything. We were borrowing money. We were eating top ramen. So it's like, I understand what that pain's like to go, hey, I'm willing to risk 120% of everything that I own in my life and take loans against it because I believed in this product. Little to no, it was a con that we were buying into. I mean, we had advisors, we had lawyers looking over the deal, and the deal was solid. But a solid deal with a con man behind the curtain doesn't really matter, But it took me, it took me 6 months just to get my feet kind of underneath me. It was honestly a 2-year reflection of growth. And even to this day, there's still a lot of that pain inside, but I've grown enough as a leader in learning how to reflect it, right? Deflect it and reflect it. How when those feelings come up, when things happen with partnerships or our business now, they remind me of that painful situation. I now can go, don't get stuck there, right? I was in a funk yesterday with some stuff that was happening, some decisions we needed to make, systems that were breaking, and we need these things to work for us to get to this next big level. I want to influence 10,000 business coaches, right? And I want to work with ones that want to influence 10,000 people themselves. Why? Because that's the ripple effect I want to be able to have with the influence that we have, with the resources, the tools, and experiences that our team of coaches has been able to collectively bring together.
Let me pause you there too, right? Because I think as we grow, we're able to mature and remove some of that pain, right? But there's some pain that lingers, right?
Sure.
What pain do you feel like that's still lingering, but you've learned how to maximize that pain for your benefit? What do you think still
I think this is the easiest way to look at it. Stress is stress. There's bad stress and there's good stress, but unmanaged will still kill you either way because it breaks down the body and rots it from the inside, right? Rust, the way rust works on a car is it eats itself. So if you can eliminate the rust, it stops spreading that disease that's crumbling and eating all of the structural components of a vehicle.
Yes.
But if you don't, it will just keep seeping and seeping and seeping and seeping. And so that pain will never go away. Childhood pains will never go away. Things that have happened, experiences that have happened, they will never, the remembrance of the emotion will never go away. I have grown as an individual to understand how to leverage it as it's just energy, right? Pain is an emotion, and an emotion is an energy that gives us fuel or sucks us dry. But you can decide if you're going to be something that defeats your battery or if it's going to be something that inflates your battery and charges it back up. And so over the years, that's why exercise has been so pivotal in my growth early on, and why we created and launched everything that we have to this day with a fitness brand, was because of what fitness did for me from a mental capacity of dealing with my anxiety and stress and just depression from different experiences throughout my life. But as I became stronger and was able to, again, do a lot more reflecting, we only grow by giving us time to allow these things to seep in, right? And grow us forward. We can't just keep reading the book. We've got to then take time to go, how do I now take these components of all this stuff that I've learned and go apply it to my life? Because until it's applied, it's absolutely nothing for us. Right? We can talk about this, but if anybody's listening and watching, which there's a few of you tonight, so thank you for tuning in, by the way. If you're enjoying yourself, give us a thumbs up. It's just that component of being able to be okay with pain. Pain is the way forward. Right? I put a note in one of my books here that the challenge makes the man. Right? The challenge makes the man. And what I mean by that, man, woman, whatever it is for you, right? The challenge is what makes us, but we have to allow ourselves to grow from the challenge. And most of us don't, because we stop that the pain is a roadblock instead of a breakthrough. And it's just a very small mind shift in perspective to how we look at the pain.
It's true.
Again, pain can hurt us, or pain can propel us forward to going, wow, when I'm feeling pain in my business, I know that I can go look back at my systems and go, there's something effed up here. I almost said it. My wife put a note here. She goes, don't swear tonight.
and to your point, Matt, I think that's the problem with most of us, right? We respect fear way too much. We respect pain way too much. And most of us just get stuck talking about all the things that are going to lead to more pain. But whatever you program in your mind is going to happen in real life. Right. And I think that's why we need to be able to dream. Right. The more we dream, the more respect we put towards our dream, the more respect we put towards ourselves. We start to surround ourselves with other dreamers, other people are sharpening ourselves. And at some point, we realize that our dreams they far outweigh the pain. But unfortunately, some of us wallow too much. But for me, I know 4 years ago when I was going through a painful time, once again, once I heard that leaders say they've never reached top 2%, guess what I did when I got back home? I went to apply for my dream job. And guess what I got accepted to when I got back home? My dream job, and I got a great payout to be able to do that. But what happened? I sat there for 3 years enjoying my dream job. And 3 years later, I got an email after becoming, I think I ended number 3 in New England. All people in this department need to find a new job within 4 months because we're getting rid of this department across the entire country. So talk about coming off of my high, still continuing my success, enjoying my life, but once again, it's still a job. They still had the opportunity to remove that, take that away, right? So once again, my pain started to escalate. My dreams were going down. So in January, found out that I needed to find a new job. In February, my wife's transmission breaks down. And in March, we had a miscarriage. So for what I thought, finding myself in my job was my answer, still wasn't. Fast forward 3 years. Yeah. So 2017 was equivalent to 2020 for most people with COVID. No, my worst year was 2017. And I remember having a conversation with my wife, and I said, man, I'm tired of everybody else letting me down. That's how victims talk. I'm tired of everybody else letting me down. Where was my accountability there? Right. And I remember saying, listen, we've been talking about moving to California. California's so expensive. Maybe one day we could do that. And fast forward 2 months of looking for another job, trying to figure out where I was going to be a good fit. The good thing was my company took care of me. They found a special job for me, but guess what? I was making less than I was 8 years before that. So was this really my destination? But you know what happened? After feeling that pain, going back to the beginning again, I became more intentional. I started reaching out and saying, what do I need to do to be able to move to the West Coast? There's more opportunities, more jobs. And guess what? I was able to get out here within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks of me saying, if I sell my house, I know it's expensive. I've got $80,000 in equity. I know it's expensive in California, but I believe in myself that much where I think I could figure out my life over there with $80,000. And guess what happened a year after I moved here? That $80,000 was gone. Gone. Why? Because I took my old thinking to my new place, but not until I invested in a personal development coach to help me turn that pain into confidence, how to turn that pain into motivation, how to turn that pain into preparation. That's when I started to break through. I stopped identifying myself with the company that I worked for. And I started saying, no, you bring this to the table regardless of who you work for. So the next time somebody tells you, hey, Jacques, I'm not sure this opportunity will be here in the long run. Oh, well, next. I should be able to be confident and say, all right, who's next? Yeah. Who's next?
And I want to make sure that everybody that's listening and that's going to watch the replay of this is not hearing that we're not saying that pain doesn't exist. It absolutely exists, right? We obviously, it's us becoming more intentional about developing the inner man for myself, right? The inner man to getting to the point mentally at a mental capacity where the pain doesn't stifle your growth, doesn't put the brakes on in your life, right? I used to have 6-month breakdowns when this whole thing happened, right? 2-year recovery. Now it's like these things can happen. We'll launch products and they're really great, and then they go away. Okay, great. Off to the next product. Okay, off to the next pivot. And every time they go back down, it's just that review for us, right? That's the 6th step in our performance system: review, refine, repeat. Once we create a system that works, which we know works, we've done it hundreds of times with businesses and products. It's plugging in the new business client that we're working with, right? Plugging in all their pieces, launching it, reviewing it, refining it, and then repeating it, and then letting that compound effect take place over and over and over and over again. What happens, though, is pain allows most of us to never get started. Or we start and we launch something and somebody offends us, or they hurt our feelings, or it was a total disaster and failure. And so that pain of just being humiliated, it's humiliating. I remember one of my coaches said, he goes, if you're proud of your product, you waited far too long to launch it.
Good
And I
one.
was like, wow, okay. And at that moment, that hit me hard because I was like, wow, we're 2 years into development and we've literally spent millions of dollars and made no money.
Good.
What's going wrong here? How do we make money while we're in development? And that was on the other side of the fence, right? Or the other side of the tracks of business. It wasn't that what I was being taught and what I had invested to learn from these Silicon Valley billionaires and investors was wrong. We raised millions of dollars of funding. It was obviously right. But the strategy for the tactical approach didn't work. So at the end of the day, we ran out of money, ran out of time, didn't have a product, and our team fell apart. Right. So that's what it came down to. And it was like, I was the only one rowing this massive ship going, I'm just sinking slowly, until everything was gone and we were dried up. And I was too immature as a leader at the time, where I had attached way too much of my self-worth to the product that I was developing and building. So when it crumbled and destroyed, and I remember team members calling me and cussing me out and swearing me out at my family dinners, I was just like, I thought they were calling to just check in and be like, hey, how you hanging in? Oh no, they were letting me have it. You're an idiot. You're never going to be anything. F you, screw you. I hope you never succeed. I mean, bro, I got hate mail, dude. I saved the letters. I have them right down here in a little folder. I have them right next to a folder that has all my testimonials of all the great success we've done with our coaches and our clients, right? Awesome. Because honestly, the ones that still mean some of the biggest, the most to me are the ones that caused me the most pain, because it was from those letters of honesty, to be frank, where I grew the most. We don't grow when we get the pats on our backs. We grow when we feel the pain of something not working, because for those of us that are intentional about our growth and developing a better system constantly, this is no competition to anybody else. I'm not competing with you, man. I'm competing with me and what I want for the life that my wife and I are creating and the businesses that we run and build. I want to be able to live anywhere in the world and run our $1 million businesses anywhere from our phones, which we can. It took us 11 years to get here. I thought I was going to be here in this point 8 years ago. Yeah. So I feel the pain of feeling like I'm way behind. But I talk to other people that go, dude, you're not even 40 yet, bro. And so, again, not that it's a competition, but it's that element of, again, realization. We like to make up in our minds and take our small problems and make them into these monumentous things. And it's like step one of our Atlas, performance system, assessment. Analyze the situation for what it really is. Don't make up other bullshit because you want to emotionally make more drama out of it. Okay. Let's really get to the root cause. What is causing you this pain? Why do you feel irritated? What is it? And don't stop asking what it is until you get to it. You'll know when you land on it because you'll feel it in your gut and go, oh, I know why I'm so frustrated right now in my business. It's my lead gen. Yeah, I don't have any leads coming in. So I'm feeling the stress of trying to stick with my current clients when I don't have leads. And what I was using isn't working anymore. Why? Because I've changed it. And this platform, Facebook's not working. Now Instagram's not working. And I used to use groups and make millions over here, but now that's not. And it's like, it's always changing.
It's true.
It's always changing.
And there's a quote in the chapter 2 that success in life comes not from holding a good hand, but in playing a poor hand well. I don't know if you remember. I'm not sure if you're big, and I'm not promoting gambling or anything like that. But I remember when Texas Hold'em.
Thank you for that disclaimer.
Yeah, I had to put that out there. And I see a childhood friend of mine here too, Jason, and he can relate too, because when Texas Hold'em became the thing, everybody wanted to be a gambler. Everybody, we had house parties left and right, and we were just cart. And then you would start to see the people who were calling bluffs all day, every day. Half the time, they would come home with the most. Why? Because they had, for lack of better words, the balls to go all in with stuff that they should not be going all in with. And then you have people with nothing but face cards that are wondering, do they have me beat? So you have people who the cards are stacked in their favor and they still can't make the right decisions. And then you have the folks who don't have that many options, but guess what? They're playing the person and not the hands that they're dealt, right? So I think the big takeaway, and I think that's a good way to transition from your story, it's really just playing the cards that you have and being intentional about some of the resources that you're surrounding yourself around.
You know, I was reading a chapter in the 15 Laws of Growth. As many of you know, we're both Maxwell coaches. We do this in corporations. And I was reading this one point, and it says, choose a positive life stance. It's one of the ways for how to turn your pain into a gain, right? Start to look at it from a life stance. But most of us, I knew I didn't. I had no philosophy to my life when I was starting out as a business owner. I just wanted to make money, right? I had a service that I knew got results for people, and so it made money. It wasn't until I had matured that I was like, wow, the result is what makes money. It's not the service that I add. People don't care what I actually do so long as they can get the end result that we say our programs and our systems can help them do. Now, I can't guarantee that. Why? Because a lot of people don't take the steps to get there, right? We buy a gym membership, but we never go. We hire a nutritionist, but we never cook our foods. We go to fast food because we don't make the time to prep our meals. And so all of those choices and the inability to make the right choices compound over time. We see that when we look at the man in the mirror, right? And I love talking about the man in the mirror moment because that was something for me that I literally stood in my bathroom when we lost everything for days and weeks and hours in a dark bathroom and could just see my reflection going, man, I just don't even recognize this dude looking at me anymore. Like, what happened? How did you let chasing success literally make you unrecognizable to yourself? And that was a really deep self journey of mine, which created the programs that we do today, right? We call it breakthrough because these were the things and the moments and the tools and the resources and the systems. Like, struggle is a mindset, man. I hate to say it, but it didn't make sense to me when I was struggling. It makes way more sense to me now that I've learned success systems, right? Success is systems. So is struggling. It's just the wrong system. Yeah. And it doesn't even need to be profoundly offset. If a train is missing one little track, dude, guess what? It derails the whole car. If your steering is 1% off, over 1,000 miles, that trajectory off is so far from the target you had intentionally set out as a goal and a dream to achieve as you grew and climbed the career ladder. And I'm going to have this, and I'm going to chase success, and I'm going to add this value and create this product and do the same. And then we got a job, and then our paycheck, and then we got comfortable, and then we tolerated where we're at, and we never strived for greatness.
Agreed. Hey, sorry to cut you off there too. I remember something my mother-in-law said. She's like, oh my gosh, all these people whining. It's like the woe is me Olympics, you know, and everyone wants to show that they're in a worse situation than the next person. That's how you know if you're surrounded by the wrong group of people. Whenever you talk, somebody's always trying to one-up you at how bad their life is. As soon as I start hearing that, I remove myself from that group because that's not the group that I want to grow with. What are some of the things that we know? Everybody has problems. Everybody has a bad experience. And I as far as keeping it simple, it's like saying everybody has bills. When I'm around poor mindset, all you hear is people complaining about bills. I got this bill I got to pay. I got that bill. Okay, so what are you doing to prepare yourself for those bills? You've been talking about bills for the last 5, 10. You know you're going to have bills until you die. All right.
And so think just real quick, the interjection there is, what is that perspective coming from? It's a lack, right? Which comes from a victim mindset. And I know this is going to irritate some people, and that's okay. I like to get into this discussion because that was me, man. For so freaking long, that was me. It was my poverty mindset that was prohibiting me from growing forward simply by the words and the way that I was looking at everything in my life. Mm-hmm. My bills were happening to me. No, you know what? I should take honor in paying my bills because it means that I have a house and a mortgage and lights to pay for and an internet, right? True. So it's like it's that component of again, just that perspective shift for most of our painful problems and situations. And it's not comparing anything, right, to anybody's stuff. Everybody's pain is their own pain. But there's always something that you can grow through that pain. I'm not saying to ignore the pain or the situation, but if it's still causing you pain, something that happened in your past is crippling from being able to go forward.
Yeah, that's the truth. And I think even growing around, always hearing about bills, bills, bills. As a kid, especially if you're coming from a poverty mindset, our one thing is, I want to be a millionaire one day. I want to be a millionaire one day. I think from the time I was 6, hearing about all these bill problems, from the time I graduated, all I knew is I want to be a millionaire. But the problem was, and I didn't realize until a few years ago, if I want to grow up to become a millionaire, where do I go to become a millionaire? Like if you Google where do I go to become a millionaire, there's no destination. Becoming a millionaire is the end result of something that you do phenomenally well. You can't, our youth, our kids, we can't just have the mindset of I want to become a millionaire. It should be, what do I want to do so much better than anyone around me? And once I can master that art, people are going to be paying me millions because I do that better than anybody else. So
it's adding value.
Yes, adding value to others.
You want to be a millionaire? Sorry, go for it.
Yeah. So instead of complaining about bills, how do you master your gifts? How do you master your strengths so that bills aren't a problem? Back home, I was complaining about bills. Once I moved out here and realized, listen, bills is the least of your problems. The least and the most. It costs 3 times more for me to survive out here than it did back home. So I couldn't take my old mindset into the new mindset. Once I moved out here, I realized, no, once you bring value to people, people come dropping money off at your table. If you don't bring value to anybody, nobody's writing you a check for anything. So how do you become good enough where people left and right are dropping off a check saying, I want some of that information. I want to learn your systems. I want to learn your beliefs, because what I have in place isn't working for me. So I realized everybody has bills, but you have those that don't bring value to anybody and they don't know how they're going to be paying their bills. And you have those who learn how to master their gift so that when bills come up, all they say is, I have that on auto pay. I don't think about bills anymore. I just think about, how do I keep growing my systems? How do I grow myself? And how can I bring more value to more people? Bills are in the back of, I don't even think about bills. All of that's on auto pay. I had my sister tell me, oh, it must be nice. No, I just think about, how do I get better every day? Bills are automatically taken care of as long as I keep growing.
I'll never forget, and I think it was Musk, and I might be misquoting him, and that's okay if I am, whatever. You can get me, you can quote people. But he said something along the lines of, if you want to make more money, add more value, right? And the larger, and solve bigger problems. That's what it was. Solve bigger problems. So when you can solve these massive problems like he's solving, right? That's what happens. For Amy and I, when we had put all of our efforts into one basket and it imploded on us, I said, never again. We were always going to have multiple lines in the water that brought in income from different areas. Well, I built brands. I built brands for 16 years, so it's like, all right, let's do this. How do we create some micro brands over here that can all be, if it's not going to make a couple 6 figures a year, I'm just not even interested in trying to entertain it. It's not enough for me to, again, have enough passion to put the energy that it takes to build these things up. It takes a lot of time, right? But and sacrifice and all the other things that we're talking about. But it's that element that you were just saying a second ago. It was the mind shift, a money mind shift that had to take place, because I was saying those same things, right? And no fault to how our parents were raised. Like, I mean, we've talked about and shared those stories. My parents, like the way that they were raised, my God, I don't even know how I would turn out if I was raised like them. Like, it would be horrible, like I got something totally different. I was very blessed in how I was raised, and I was homeschooled, so I got to read a lot of the books that people take for granted, as part of my curriculum. But that doesn't mean that the shift just instinctively happened. Why? Because I was just reading the book and I wasn't applying anything into my business and and into my life. I was just reading the concepts, studying the principles, and going, wow, these are really great. These are really profound. How comes nothing's changing? Right? It's those inspirational coaches that are just like, think happy thoughts, think positive thoughts. It's the law of attraction. Just think money will come to me. Money will come to me. Money will come to me. No, it won't. No, it won't. No, it won't. Like success is a set of systems and rules and mindset. And yes, you need that positive affirmation and elements in those components, but just sitting there in your room saying money's going to come to me. Prince Charming will come and knock at my door. No, he won't. Not unless you become intentional about going out and seeking it. Perceptions, projections. So like when we talk about our bills and our bills and our bills, it's because we have a poor money mindset. And let's face it, we are struggling to add value. And so we are not actually making enough money. That's really what it comes down to. Right. So why don't, instead of saying I have so many bills, why don't we start to ask just a different question? How do I become more so that I can go add more value so that I can earn more? A lot of us want the earn more. And we go, I don't understand why I'm hustling. And I see all these people coming into my career and they just get these promotions next to me. And this another guy gets a promotion. And yet it's like, we look at it from a victimized standpoint going, well, it must be this reason, and this reason why I'm not getting it. Or maybe we look in the mirror and go, what kind of questions am I asking myself? Am I looking at it as a victim, or am I going, hey, what is it that I've added to showcase my expertise that I've grown and I can add even more value than I'm bringing currently right now to my career, to my marketplace, to my product. And so it's a complete shift. And again, that falls into a lot of these other things that we talk about, like environment. For me, it was like I needed to stop hanging around a lot of the people I was hanging around because I was going to go nowhere if that's where it stayed. And I had to shift completely going, hey, wow. And John talks about it a lot in his career, going every time he climbed that ladder of influence, it was like when you outgrow your sphere, that's not good. I don't want to be the strongest man in the room. I don't want to be the biggest leader in the room. I want to be somewhere in the bottom half. That's where I was in school too. It made the top half even possible.
Yeah.
But that's what pushes me. Why? Because I can take that pain now and use it as something that drives me and pushes me forward to go, no, I'm not just going to do this one thing. I'm not just going to, if it fails over here, we just go back to the system, tweak it, run it again. Fails again, come back, tweak it, run it again. Come back, tweak it, run it again.
Agree. You know what? It's contrary to what we hear. We always hear people say, you want to be the best, you want to be the best, you want to be the best. Now, I think
that doesn't exist, man.
Exactly, it doesn't.
It's a perfection lie.
It's the truth. And I almost want to flip it around and say you should focus on being average. And when people hear that and say average, that's completely against. Listen, you need to be the best version of yourself. But if you're the best person in your group, you're not growing anymore. So if you always allow yourself to move to a bigger group, being average is not bad. If you're the poorest person in the room, I'm not gonna say the dumbest, but not as intelligent as the best person in the room. If you're always looking to be average, and it's always forcing you to move yourself into a higher sphere, a higher group, a higher level of thinking, right? So being average isn't bad because nobody wants to be the worst person in the group. I think we all fear being the least effective person in the room. So I always say, hey, every couple of years, increase your influence, increase your circle. Right? Because you don't want to be the best person in your group. If you are, you need to move to a different group where you now have to work your way to just being average. And being average in a group full of millionaires, I don't care how you look at it. I will be an average millionaire. You know, I will shoot better than being the best poor person in the room. You know, so let's shoot for being average, but just change your circle so that average doesn't have the stereotype that we all think of.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that that's just where when we look back at how do we take this and embrace and develop ourselves so that pain isn't something that keeps us broken, and it's something that allows us to have breakthroughs in our businesses, in our careers, in our life. And a lot of that, again, is going to come down to us having that reflective moment in going, how do I respond? You know, how do I look at things when they don't go great? How do I respond when pain happens in my life? Do I freak out? Do I go into full panic mode? Do I have these other different components? Or do I go, okay, cool, this pain's happening. Let's take some time. What's causing the pain? What's the source of the pain? Let's assess the situation, right? I always run through it. We just made a quick little screensaver, actually, that we're going to put out into the groups this week. That is just our Atlas performance system, right? It's just a reflective state of mind to look at, right? A simple 6-step process, no matter where we're feeling stuck. If we have a problem in our job, in our career, especially for those of us that are in that management level or in that coaching level, sometimes we have those tidal wave days where it's just client after client after client after client that's just fire after fire after fire after fire. And I don't care how good or how long you've been a professional coach, that's exhausting.
Yeah,
and so where do we go when that happens and go, where do I go recharge to go, I got to put some of this fire out, man? Like, how do I look at that and how do I take that negative experience and not take it home to my family and my wife and go, oh, I just had such a stressful day and now you're going to get the leftover, you know? And unfortunately, that's what happens a lot of the times. And so that's kind of why we created the group that we created. And we're going to be doing more and more and more as the weeks go on. And summertime's always strange with virtual coaching. It always has been for the last decade because everybody's out playing. And so that's why we're just going to stick to doing our leadership training calls on Tuesday. In a couple weeks, we've got 4 other calls, that'll be popping up on Thursdays, Tuesday mornings, Wednesday mornings, and Thursday mornings, all talking about different other components, right? Tech Tuesday. It's going to be, what are the technical systems? What are the different software programs, things to help us manage our time, our life better? Remember, success is a set of systems. So we're just going to share a lot of these different systems, strategies, and tactical approaches that we coach on. We don't teach a one size fits all because I don't believe there's a one size fits all. And I will argue that point with anybody, and so being able to show you different systems, different strategies, and different tactics and how you can compartmentalize and put those together to build a high performance system for you in your life, in your family, in your marriage, in your business. We built this because I screwed it up a lot for a really long time, and we've now have a system that works really well.
Great.
And so go ahead.
I'm looking forward to when we can invite some special guests on the call. We have one comment right now from Steve Black, and it said, under promise and over deliver. You'll do more than 98% of other people out there. And the reason why that resonates with me is because in the military, that's exactly what I was taught. Under promise, over deliver. And that allowed me to really raise through the ranks really quick. But then when I moved to corporate America, it's like it backfired on me. I would under promise, over deliver. But then I realized the people that I was competing with at the highest level, they were over promising and praying the hell that they would hit that goal. And most of the time they came up short. And I started realizing in a large company, people are so busy being pulled left and right. They don't even have time to follow up on your results. They just hear all the jabber coming out your mouth and like, that guy's phenomenal. It's like, no, his mouth doesn't match his results. He's always promising big things. And because you're pulled in so many directions, you don't even have time to follow up to see if he even really met that mark. So I can't wait to invite special guests on to be able to kind of dive deeper because I love that slogan. And I think it is right on point in some markets. And I'm curious which markets it doesn't work in. So, hey, thank you for that comment, Steve Black. We look forward to bringing some special guests on to be able to kind of open up that conversation.
No, I'm going to piggyback on that because I think that's the number one problem with 98% of the coaches and entrepreneurs and business owners that we work with is it's very easy to learn the front end marketing of a program or a service, right? That's honestly one of the easiest elements, in my opinion, over the years of studying all of this. The easiest thing is learning the front end marketing. How do I tell a good story to get people to understand the value that I can deliver to them to help them get from point A, their struggle, to point B, this end result that I'm selling them, right? That's the value that you're bringing. Whatever that is in the middle is your value, your service, your product, whatever it is, right? And so for me, we've bought hundreds of thousands of dollars of these programs over the last decade because I want to see what are other successful people doing. Bro, it would blow your mind what some of these $10 million, $20 million coaching businesses actually deliver. It would blow most startup coaches and even mid-level, coaches that are doing 6 figures, even $1 million plus. It would blow their mind at what some of these big top dogs are actually delivering. It's junk, man. Why? Because people overpromise and underdeliver, and that it will eventually get you in trouble, right? I mean, almost every time they fumble out. I've watched coaches build $10 million, $20 million coaching programs, but they don't grow as a person that can maintain that capacity. So law the lid, right? They hit that ceiling and they go, whoa, and they just bounce straight back down. I've watched it happen dozens and dozens of times. I have done over 15 intake calls with people that have gold discs from one of these great online marketing programs, which means your product or service made you over $1 million. Congrats. That's awesome. We're having a call because they're literally broke. But I go to their page and they're still marketing with this, hey, I've made 7 figures. Hey, I've made 7 figures. Hey, I've made 7 figures. Don't look over here at what I'm actually doing because I'm broke as shit. But hey, I've done 7 figures. Buy my program. I can help you make 7 figures, 7 figures. They sound like that broken record. And it's just like, you got to be careful. We live in a vanity world of filters. Total vanity world of filters. Not even just in a filtered world from how people take selfies and pictures of themselves with all the, hey, flush out my skin and smooth out my wrinkles and, add this little blush on my cheeks in my photo. Why? Because we want to present the most beautiful presentation of our broken selves. Right. And I say broken in a very good way. I don't believe anybody is truly broken. I think we might have some dents and dings that just need to be worked out. Right.
Agree.
But it's that element of going, yeah, when I can do the marketing and people buy it and then they go, holy shit. I thought I was getting this. I had no idea that you're going to do this and you do this call and you have this program and you have all these different tools and resources. We have all kinds of workbooks, man. We worked with, again, hundreds of businesses. We have like 117 what we call business strategy guides. Some of them are 20 pages. Some of them are 70 plus pages that walk through a business owner through a very specific step-by-step system. Why? Because it's had success over and over and over and over.
Yeah.
And so I'll never forget this. And then I kind of want us to wrap up. When I invested in one of my first coaches, I actually hit the ceiling very fast with them, but I didn't know what that was. And I was being held back in my own potential of growth by their limited coaching on me. They had not reached the level of success that I was aiming for. They had been successful in real estate. And I thought, well, if they were successful in real estate, they could help me be successful over here in growing my online coaching business. It was the worst thing ever. It held me back so much. And that's when I was like, wow. There's coaches for every different phase of your life. And some of us get hung up in going, well, I invested 10K over here, so that's it. And well, it didn't make sense. So, well, it doesn't work. Yeah. That's that pain, right? It's that pain of investment. It's that pain of going, hey, I'm going to have to sacrifice some time, some money to learn these systems that were not taught to me, that I do not know. But if I want to add more, if I want to make more, I need to become more. And so if I'm not going to look in the mirror and see value in investing in myself and getting to that next level and learning whatever it is that I need to learn so that I can add more value, we go through this very up and down roller coaster that we call life.
Yes, 100%.
And then we look back far too late and go, wow, I wish I wouldn't have allowed pain to hold me back.
That's true. And wrapping up Steve's point, I believe he's right. Right, under promise and over deliver consistently.
Everywhere.
Yes, because I imagine if he was on the call, he would be saying, duh, consistently. You can't just do it one time while you had that experience where your coach took you up and then you fell flat. Right? It's over a long period of time. So thank you for that feedback, Steve. I think you're exactly right.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We're going to be doing this again every Tuesday throughout the summer, Breakthrough Live. If you've got specific topics, if you want to hear us talk about specific elements, remember our company, Founders Atlas specifically, we teach systems, strategies, and tactical approaches to growing and scaling your business, your ideas, turning your ideas into tangible businesses. That's what we've done with our accelerator program. It's what I've done multiple times going through different tech accelerators in this country and having raised millions of dollars in funding to learn these different components of how to not stressfully try and build a business. There's a way to successfully do this that's not going to break the bank, that's going to allow you to learn these step-by-step processes without all these gimmicky tactical approaches. But thank you guys for tuning in. If there's anything that we can help you with, please reach out to Jacques or I. We'd love to jump on a call and just and see how we can maybe help you break through different components of your life, climbing the career ladder. That's what I got this week, man. I'm super excited. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you're watching the replay, would love you to make a comment, hashtag replay. If you're watching live, hashtag live. We'll tune in next week. If any of you that are listening, that are a professional coach or a service provider, you've got value that you want to share with the community of people, definitely please reach out to us. Jacques and I are actively reaching out to other people right now, setting up a calendar of events and other guest speakers that we would like to bring on to, again, bring value from different angles. A lot of the people in our communities and the followers of Jacques and I are high-level career climbers or business builders, from startups to multi-millionaires and some of them billionaires, right? And so we've got all the gamuts. What we want to make known is that we just want to bring value that helps grow leaders and help you build your brands. So with that, I'm out.
Take care.
See you, brother.